going to start this week's episode with a tale of tragedy and triumph.
Oh.
Chris
is this going to be dedicated to Dostoevsky?
Chris is back.
No.
First
That
of
is
all.
triumph.
Yeah, I'm back.
Well,
Hi.
actually, the triumph and tragedy happened last night.
Oh.
I called you both equally. It's within minutes of each other.
Okay.
I
yeah.
was equally shit-faced. Possibly more when I talked to Rob because I cracked another beer. And I gave you all the Mark, the fun Mark conversation of, all right, guys, good news, bad news.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah.
I did not know we were going to relive it now, but I'm excited.
Good news is that the Buffalo Bills beat out the Jets, so that's fucking awesome for me over here. Go Bills.
Congrats.
And the bad news was that Bob Saget passed away.
He seemed to be an immortal.
You know, it's one of those things.
They always do.
It was such an emotional fucking day of rooting for the. I was actually supposed to be at the Bills game yesterday, but I unfortunately couldn't make it because of other commitments I had.
Oh,
but I got to spend it with my son, so that was fine. But yeah, and then after all that, it's like boom, fucking Bills win it, we're good. Fuck you, Jets, and then Bob Saget's dead.
I mean, he's a total '90s icon.
I know it sucks, man. What a fucking bummer, dude.
I mean, it's not like a Betty White caliber tragedy, but
I put it up. Me personally, man, I put it up there with Betty White for me.
I do
love Bob Saget.
I do like that after he
it.
left, like the most family shows in the world.
Dirty bastard.
Just the scummiest fuck ever to amble the earth.
Yeah.
And you got to admire that.
R.I.P. Bob Saget.
R.I.P.
The Sags.
Welcome to the Cryptonaut podcast. My name is Mark Storrs, and I'm joined by Chris Carnicelli.
Not bad.
And Mr. Robert Morphy.
Fucking A right.
Chris is still a little bit under the weather.
Yeah, it's getting there.
You look better, though. You do.
Yeah, but he's here.
You sound better,
I am
too.
here.
You sound
the trio
better.
is back.
You look better. We're doing it. We had a lot of call-outs to Chris last episode where because me and Bob just kept going off the rails.
Yeah, we were a little sloppy as we want to be.
Chris gonna hate this. But I didn't hear too much negative feedback, so I guess we did okay. We can occasionally hold it together, and then
You did.
Yeah, we were definitely unreined.
Yeah, dude, the boys are back in town.
There it is.
It's gonna happen in this party. Hey,
there it is.
Troika Musketeers, yo.
Patreon, Robert. Let's do these shout-outs for these good folks that chose to monetarily support us this month.
They deserve it, and I'm glad to do it.
Let's do it.
Nick Phillips.
Hell yeah, Nick. What up?
Zachariah Austin.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Elijah Jonathan.
Thank you so very much, Elijah.
Dirty Iced Chai. All one word.
Oh, dirty iced chai. Okay, I'm down.
It's dirty. Is it because there's a little alcohol in it?
that's what I'm hoping.
Because I like iced chai.
I'm hoping it's not.
I like chai.
Is it like a dirty glass?
No, it's like iced
Okay.
tea.
It's some bourbon, right?
All
I don't know, maybe rum. That's exactly what I was going to say.
As soon as I
Perfect.
said that, I realized rum is the deal.
It has to be.
I like it.
Jacob Galanter.
Thank you, Jacob.
Bam Bam.
Yeah, bam, bam. What up?
Tyler Ford.
What up, Tyler?
Ooh.
Matt Nelson.
What up, Matt?
Kurt Donahue, fresh from starring in 1953 sci-fi
I was gonna say
epic.
all these last three names are all like sitcom. Like Tyler Ford is Henry Doolittle.
Nice.
Joel M. Reisner.
Oh yeah, Joel.
Lewis.
Lewis.
Or perhaps Louis, depending on how you choose to pronounce it.
There you go.
Francis Wunderlich.
Our old buddy Francis.
Oh,
Old buddy
who's that guy?
Oh, shit.
Talented artist, West Coast purveyor of all things awesome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Francis.
What up, Francis?
The next one, it's got that fancy youth spelling with numbers and whatnot. I'm going to go with anxiety, but it could be anxiety.
Is this hacker speak?
It could be hacker speak.
This could be code.
It could be.
When he just summoned
This
something
guy could
by
have
saying
Ponty
it.
pulled exactly a demon into some fucking sphere of existence. But anxiety is what I'm going with, and thank you, whatever your name actually is. And if we got it wrong, you know the deal.
Fair enough.
Moving on. The Elite Burb.
The elite BRB?
BIRB.
BIRB. Okay.
Burb.
Could be more hackers.
Could be. We're going to end it
Could be.
Could be.
Irk.
Irk.
That's
All right.
ERK. Not
Excellent.
Eric. Irk.
All right.
Irk the Lavender.
That's clearly
My
a
favorite
barbarian
Viking.
name.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly. Jesus.
Thank you, one and all. We cannot do this shit without you, though we'd find a way, but it would be a much less pleasurable journey.
Yes. Thank you all for keeping us out of the gutter.
Oh,
There you
Oh,
go.
hello
How about
from
that?
the gutter.
Yeah.
There it is.
First off, quoting overkill is great. Secondly, let's not put that kind of pressure on
Just saying, without them, we could be in the gutter. Okay?
them. Okay. You're right.
The emotional, not physical.
You are the rubbers, as in the shit that folds over your shoes, not,
Oh, okay.
Wait,
I'm like, what-
hold on
yeah.
a second.
You are the rubbers that keep the gutter off our shoes.
Are you preventing pregnancies now, or what are you doing?
Not on purpose. That's for fucking sure.
Are you Planned Parenthood now?
Yeah.
Well,
Really, you are, aren't you?
after a fashion.
Not a big fan of rubbers, Rob Morphy.
Wow. So there it is.
Yeah.
It's
It's more like
gonna be-
Unplanned Parenthood.
That's gonna be your new screen name.
Yeah, it's so convenient and easy to write.
Oh shit! Thank y'all again for joining us this week. Oh shit! Uncle Bobby pulled something special out for us. We're talking about the Radiant Raccoon, LSD, and the Nobel Laureate.
Oh, yeah.
In the mid-'80s, a Nobel Prize winning chemist was visiting his remote cabin when he had a run-in with a glowing creature that would have been equally at home on the pages of a sci-fi novel or collection of fairy tales. This iridescent anomaly greeted him cordially and sent this already controversial character spiraling into a bizarre and terrifying realm of high strangeness.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
Oh, we're going to the realm of high strangeness?
We are definitely, in more ways than one. I
love
this. This is an adventure.
Okay.
This is an adventure for a lot of reasons. Some of it's in the background. Some of it is in what actually happens. But I guess there's no point in trying to explain it in advance. We're just going to go on the deep dive together, and we'll see where we end up.
All right.
Dr. Cary Banks Mullis, a man whose work would one day revolutionize the fields of molecular biology, medicine, and forensics, was born into a middle-class family in Lenoir, North Carolina, a rural city nestled near the foothills of the Blue Ridge Mountains on December 28th, 1944. At a young age, his furniture salesman father Cecil and real estate agent mother Bernice moved him to Columbia, South Carolina, where following their separation, Bernice gained custody of the quirky youngster, who'd while away his days wandering around the countryside, quote-unquote, observing organisms.
That kid's no fun.
What do you mean no fun? I used to do that all the
I don't
time.
know.
Dude, you were out looking at bugs, looking for salamanders, catching minnows, playing with crayfish.
Oh, that's right. There was no Xbox back then. was there?
Organisms.
Yeah, shit. Okay. All right. Maybe
That was the way of life back then.
Organisms.
maybe
That's all I did.
Maybe he's cool. We'll see.
I mean, I read books too.
Well, Atari, though.
Yeah,
well, but that
exactly,
came later.
Exactly.
A little bit
later.
later for me.
Nintendo.
I know. Well, my
You're
access
only
to
a year
one,
and
I
a
should
half
say.
older than me.
No. No, I did, that was not me playing the fucking Elder card.
Well, I'm a little bit older, so
This was
I
me
didn't play
playing
with toys.
the poor kid card, and I didn't get video game bullshit until later in life.
yeah, actually, I was behind in like 9. We didn't get Atari until at least years before after it came out.
Right.
Really.
Though my dad
family
did
was
bring
that way,
home
too.
a hyper used, like something that had like fake wood panel decals on it and a roller ball, and you could just play Pong and some sort
Oh yeah,
of
I remember
driving
that.
game.
We had, yeah.
And the actual controllers came off but were attached with
Yeah.
with,
I remember
twirly
those.
telephone lines.
I
For sure.
remember those. Yeah.
You know, fucking 70s and 80s. It would be Mullis's observation of one such decidedly unusual organism that will be the focus of this episode. But before we get to that specific event, we need to explore the background of the eyewitness, undoubtedly one of the most famous academics to ever publicly admit to a paranormal encounter, in more detail. Mullen's interest in chemistry was sparked when he began synthesizing solid fuel propulsion rockets as a student at Draher High School. After graduating in '62, he enrolled in Atlanta's Georgia Institute of Technology, where he earned his Bachelor of Science in Chemistry. Mullis continued his education at the University of California at Berkeley, where in 1966, the 22-year-old authored an astrophysics paper titled The Cosmological Significance of Time Reversal, which Mullis claimed, quote, covered the entire universe from beginning to end, end quote. Shockingly, it was published in the prestigious journal Nature in 1968. Big deal.
Yeah,
It's,
time reversal.
it's more than I've ever done. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Like Jesus. All right.
I'm in
fine.
that boat.
I came up with Hello Space.
All right, so raise your hand
all
if
I got.
you've never been published in Nature.
Yeah.
Yeah, there it is.
No, I haven't.
Well, Chris 3 times, but I mean, he's special.
Yeah. There you go.
Mullis admitted that in those heady days on the cusp of the summer of love, his irreverent approach to science and his skill in synthesizing psychedelic drugs made him something of a notorious figure on campus.
LSD wizard.
The LDS.
Nice.
And in his 1998 autobiography, Dancing Naked in the Mind Field, not Minefield,
Mind.
he described the circumstances around a biology grad student writing a physics paper. Quote, I had read a lot about astrophysics and had taken some psychoactive drugs, which enhanced my perceived understanding of the cosmos.
Oh, he's breaking down the fucking walls of reality,
He's
dude.
fucking dropping hits and seeing the truth.
Maybe.
He's
but
pierced.
notice what he said, though.
Perceived.
Yes.
That's key.
Which enhanced my perceived understanding of the cosmos.
That's how you
In later
pierce.
life, I think he had. No, go ahead,
That's
Mark.
how you pierce the
That's how
veil,
you
is
pierce
by
the veil.
perceiving
By
it.
perceiving it.
Yeah.
And Mark's not wrong, but also this guy would later be like, I think Nature's still embarrassed they published this. I was basically tripping my balls off, and I wrote this thing. And he even credits it as one of the main reasons he got his doctorate, because he was fucking up then too, but we'll get to that. Despite this accomplishment, a close friend and fellow Berkeley alum, Thomas White, who would play a major role in his friend's career, claimed that Mullis was having difficulty passing his oral exams, and his dissertation was accepted only after White and a bunch of his buddies got together to, quote, cut all the wacko stuff out of it, end quote.
Oh, see.
This wacko stuff may have been the musings of a brilliant mind or the result of being under the influence of the not infrequent inhalations of nitrous oxide that Mullis was known to
doing
enjoy.
nitrous?
Dude, he's got fucking tanks.
Late 60s, Berkeley campus.
Oh man,
He's making the LDS and he's fucking hitting the nitrous.
Oh, it was me at sunset.
dude, I was gonna say,
Doing dishes at sunset.
I loved
falling
it.
over.
Yes, I loved nitrous as a kid. Those crackers. Oh man, just get all. I think I passed out in the bathroom at the high school more than once because I'm like, oh boy, guys, everything's fucked up, and I think I just killed my brain.
That'll do it.
But I'm here today,
Yeah.
and I came up with outer space.
I remember parties at a certain buddy's house in the age where I ought to have been in college. We all know who it is, but I'll get into that later. Where in a back room, another buddy of ours had a giant nitrous tank. It was just selling balloon hits for just ridiculously cheap, and people were trading them like dead live tapes. 1972
bootleg, fucking
Philly. It's great.
Was
Man.
my-
I was in the Lesh Zone, and fucking whatever else.
Was my scummy uncle there?
Oh, probably.
Nice.
Other
good.
people were
Oh,
writing
boy.
checks, and then another buddy of ours,
writing checks.
who we all love and adore, had a cut open 3-liter bottle of Mountain Dew when they still did 3 liters with a big bucket of water and was indulging in gravity bong sessions while Mystery Science Theater played on in the TV
That
when it was still in prime time, and it was
sounds like the 90s.
a
Actually.
hell of
like,
a time.
See, it was a different.
Yeah.
It was a different time and a different place.
And it could have been the Berkeley campus,
Could have been. You never know.
but it was Auburn, New York.
There you go.
Okay. In 1972, Mullis earned his PhD in biochemistry, and in the first of many unconventional maneuvers, he quit his Berkeley lecturing gig to try his hand at writing science fiction. He then moved to Kansas City as a postdoctoral fellow in pediatric cardiology at the University of Kansas Medical School, but ended up spending 2 years as a bakery manager instead.
Yes, been there.
Yeah, Chris was a bakery
Definitely.
manager. There you go.
Yeah, you get rid of that postdoctoral thesis bullshit,
Yeah.
and you bake something.
I went to college and learned basic, and then just ended up being a baker.
There's
Because
nothing wrong
basic
with
was
that.
already like done at that point.
There you go.
They were still teaching it.
C++, baby. There it is.
Before eventually meandering back to California, where he managed a cafe. A strange path indeed for a man who in less than 2 decades would become a Nobel laureate. As luck would have it, his old buddy White stumbled into the cafe, which, by the way, was owned by his first wife. He divorced her at the campus, got White to marry him, ordained him as a minister in the Universalist Church. He went to Kansas City with the second wife, dumped her there, married a third person in fucking
Oh,
Kansas
fuck's
City,
sake.
brought her back, and now he's managing his first wife's cafe.
I don't have time
in
for
Berkeley.
this.
That's a lot.
I wrote all this and I thought, no, this is too much.
Just
But I'm
starting to
telling
get
you,
better. I don't
quit.
need this right now.
I'm just saying this man lives the life of a fucking itinerant Lothario
Yeah,
super
Jesus
genius.
Christ, I know. All
Just
right.
swinging dick and dropping acid. There you go.
And so White stumbles into the cafe and convinced Mullis to leave the restaurant business and return to the wonderful world of science, helping him land a job with the biotechnology firm Cetus Corporation, where, despite his lack of experience in molecular biology, Mullis worked as a DNA chemist for 7 years before becoming the head of the DNA synthesis lab. There were many who believed that Mullis's swift ascension was the result of nepotism due to the fact that White was Cetus's director of molecular and biological research and therefore his boss. And there was good reason to think this was the case. For one thing, the contentious Mullis would often disagree with his less progressive coworkers, resulting in heated arguments, and despite still being married to his third wife, he would often engage in tumultuous affairs with his lab assistants, resulting in epic workplace rows.
What the fuck is happening?
Guys, he can't be controlled.
This is like a weird Netflix show. Like,
it's
like, you know what I mean?
No, really.
It's just like,
yeah, it's like who's that guy? The fucking the doctor. Not Grey's Anatomy. Although I did like Grey's Anatomy. House.
Dempsey?
It's like House.
House.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was totally on Grey's Anatomy,
yeah.
was he? Or not? Because it was a different show, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
No.
It wasn't the same universe, was it? There was never a house.
Yeah, no, it was totally the one with
Great
Dr.
crossover.
Dreamy and McSteamy saying elsewhere. No, that's a dig. That's a medical
I would have
dig.
loved to have seen fucking House crossover with Grey's Anatomy, though.
Really?
Yeah, I like.
You have enough hours in the day to wish for something like that?
Yeah, I do.
All right. Go Bills.
It's right, motherfucker. Go Bills.
Another aspect of Mullis's personality that rubbed his colleagues the wrong way was his unbridled arrogance. In a 1998 article by Nicholas Wade, one of Mullis's former CETUS colleagues, Dr. Corey Levinson, had this to say about why his coworker was able to push the limits of conventional science. Quote, "Part of it had to do with his ego and belief that he's much smarter than the people around him. Most people who launch into an unfamiliar area would first speak to recognized authorities and get all the background. Carey saw it as a waste of time. He figured it would take less time to do the experiments himself." End quote. To call the brilliantly bucolic Mullis, who was described by some as Hunter Thompson meets Stephen Hawking, an eccentric would be akin to saying Albert Einstein was sort of bright or that Mahatma Gandhi wasn't much of a bully. In short, it would be an understatement of epic proportions. Some of his idiosyncrasies included a penchant for scrawling scientific notes on lab tables, desktops, or any horizontal surface available, and the fact that, to his employer's chagrin, he insisted on keeping his lunch and a case of Beck's in the same fridge as his radioactive isotopes, albeit on a different shelf.
All right. I'm in for Bex.
Yeah.
I used
Beck's is good.
I used to enjoy Bex. Skunky, but
All right.
quality skunk.
Yeah, but is it the green bottle skunk or was it designed to be skunk? It's
No,
always hard to
nothing's
know.
skunk isn't off flavor. Nothing's ever designed to be skunk.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Beck's
That's why I
skunk was
can't
good.
stand the Heineken. I don't like the skunk. I don't like the Molson Golden.
I used to love the skunk.
I used to. I don't.
Not anymore.
Because I used to think it was a hallmark of quality Canadian brew. And then I realized,
Yeah, if you didn't- sure, you didn't know.
using a skunk's ass as a straw for your Pilsner is not what
Yeah,
was,
it was a
supposed to be
flavor.
happening.
Like I'm used to. We grew up with beers that didn't have flavor,
We did.
and
So
I was
you're
like,
right.
"Oh my god, this tastes like a skunk," but I don't care. I love it.
Yeah. No, I mean, Stellas are a little skunky, but they're not awful. They're a
Still
little-
not what I prefer.
They're less, yeah.
Yeah, they're a little less skunk to them.
Beer.
Yeah, the best. Beer. Okay. Mullis's odd work habits, lovers' quarrels, and inability to work well with others put his boss and friend White in, quote, a tough spot. His behavior was so outrageous that the other scientists thought that the only reason I didn't fire him outright was that he was a friend of mine, end quote. Whether their personal relationship had any bearing on Mullis's seemingly inexplicable ability to hold on to his job is an open question, but any doubt that the cocksure chemist deserved that position was shattered when, in 1983, he invented the polymerase chain reaction procedure. In a nutshell, PCR is a process which Wade described as being, quote, used for amplifying chosen sections of DNA that has quickly become an essential tool for biologists, DNA forensic labs, and almost anyone else who needs to study the genetic material, end quote. Due to his lack of background in molecular biology, Mullis's more conservative colleagues were justifiably skeptical of his theory. But on December 16, 1985, the often undisciplined experimentalist succeeded in demonstrating the workability of PCR. It was an event that the New York Times would later herald as, quote, highly original and significant, virtually dividing biology into two epochs, before PCR and after PCR. So it's a big fucking deal.
Yeah,
odds.
that's pretty intense.
For his development of this method, Mullis would receive a $10,000 bonus from CETUS, a sum which would pale when compared to the $300 million price tag that the company would command for selling the procedure just 5 years later.
Big Pharma.
Big Pharma.
Always looking out for us.
Yeah,
Thanks, guys.
the little guy.
We appreciate it.
But while missing out on the massive fortune spawned by your creation can be devastating. In 1993, Mullis would be awarded something that would, at least in terms of scientific prestige, be much more valuable: the Nobel Prize in Chemistry.
Nice.
True to his childlike, some would say immature nature, the scientist was almost arrested while awaiting his Nobel Prize in Stockholm for shooting a laser beam from his hotel room at random passersby.
This dude is definitely House.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
for
she's
sure,
just
yeah.
like... He's,
Like a
fuck.
reckless, brilliant fuck-all. And when he won the Japan Prize, a coveted award given to those whose, quote, original and outstanding achievements in science and technology are recognized as having advanced the frontiers of knowledge and served the cause of peace and prosperity for mankind, end quote, Mullis stunned those present by referring to the Empress of Japan as Sweetie. What an unconventional mind.
I mean, like, hey, sweetie. He's not a normal dude, man. He's out there he's on jazz cigarettes and shit. He's doing his thing, dude.
Cigarettes.
Yeah, he's just doing his fucking thing,
It is
man.
important to paint this picture before we get into it because
He's a different
you
dude.
need to know.
All right, he's a different dude. I love it.
But the Nobel Prize-winning surfer, sci-fi writer, and former synthetic drug maker wasn't simply an irreverent egotist. He was also a dyed-in-the-wool eccentric with ideas that ranged from the merely controversial to the downright contemptible. Some of these conceits included being a denier of human-caused climate change, a denouncer of the validity of the fields of sociology and psychology, and perhaps most egregiously, being a robust opponent of the universally accepted notion that the HIV virus is related to AIDS. All deeply controversial and damaging stances. The now famous scientist also rankled his peers by espousing a firm belief in astrology and reincarnation and claiming that he once met a woman who picked him up in a bakery after claiming that she'd saved him from an overdose on the astral plane.
Well, yeah, I mean, when you're fucking smoking dust on the astral plane and you overdose, I mean, yeah.
Or if you're dying on the earth plane, but your astral body can be resuscitated, I mean, they're probably intertwined in some way. I'll admit that no more information is given on this.
Yeah, totally.
So it's super shitty not to believe in fucking man-made climate change, in my opinion. I mean, I think you're missing... Shitty may be wrong. I think you're brutally ignorant and missing the fucking point. It is super shitty to deny the association, I think, with HIV and AIDS because as a result of that, I think South Africa's president at the time might have geared the research towards something else or at least denied people. And so this probably almost certainly resulted in many thousands of deaths.
Bad
now, I'm not
decisions.
saying that hangs right on his shoulders specifically, but he certainly didn't help the matter. Other things, I believe in reincarnation. You know, I'm down with there being an astral plane, are just things that would rub academics the wrong way.
He may have believed in the moon. I hope he didn't.
Oh,
I don't
boy.
know. We'll see.
All right. Bizarre as many of those beliefs surely were in the eyes of his academic peers and the general public alike, the event that would become one of the most defining of his life would be so inordinately odd that this bad boy of science barely knew what to make of it himself. Chapter 13 of his aforementioned memoirs, Dancing Naked in the Minefield, bears the title, No Aliens Allowed. And in it, Mullis gives testimony to an experience that had a profound and disturbing effect not only on his life, but those of his loved ones. In his own words, quote, "Some people have experiences that are so strange they attribute them to alien intervention of some kind, close encounters of the first kind, second kind, third kind, etc., as though alien intervention would always fall into certain categories. I had one of those experiences myself. To say it was aliens is to assume a lot, but to say it was weird is to understate it. It was extraordinarily weird." The incident occurred just outside of Mullis's cabin, which was built in 1975 along the Navarro River on an isolated, densely forested stretch of northern California's Mendocino County. The remote structure, which had been christened the Institute for Further Study, I like that,
Okay.
served as a sort of sanctuary for the hyperactive Nobel Laureate. Though powered by solar panel-fueled batteries, the cabin lacked even the most basic amenities such as indoor plumbing or telephones, which is just the way Mullis liked it.
Shitting in a bucket, no one can call you.
There it is.
I love it.
Yep.
Just piss out the window and no need for an answering machine.
Dude, off the grid.
Yeah.
To further study shit.
Further study.
Yeah, kind of like the Unabomber. There you go.
Yeah, a little Kaczynski.
A little bit. You got a little touch of the Kaczynski in them.
Tab.
LSD experiments. There you go.
On a Friday evening, sometime in 1985, Mullis decided to make the nearly 3-hour drive through the mountains from Berkeley to Mendocino. He was alone and looking forward to a weekend of solitude and relaxation. He would find neither. When Mullins arrived at the cabin, it was near midnight. Here in his own words is what happened next. I turned on the kitchen lights, put my bags of groceries on the floor, and grabbed a heavy black flashlight. I was headed to the John, which was about 50 feet west of the cabin, down a hill. Some people thought it was a little eerie at night, but I didn't. I liked the night. I liked sitting in the dark on the custom-carved redwood seat. I liked the sound of owls in the valley. But that night, I never made it to the seat. That's the way to shit. Serenaded by owls on your custom redwood seat.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've become accustomed, though, to a bidet. So I don't know if I can ever shit in an outhouse again, unless I bring like a sprinkler system with me or something.
Yeah, because you definitely don't want shit from the bottom of the outhouse bideting your ass.
No, you don't want that pile of muck shooting into your ass.
You get Super Bowl in that way.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. Mullis, brand new flashlight in hand, began his pilgrimage through the suffocating darkness to the outhouse. I'll continue in his words, quote, I walked down the steps, turned right, and then, at the far end of the path, under a fir tree, there was something glowing. I pointed my flashlight at it anyhow. It only made it whiter where the beam landed. It seemed to be a raccoon. I wasn't frightened.
Okay.
All right, I mean, a raccoon with fucking iridescent skin, dude.
I mean, it could have been glow-in-the-dark paint. Was that something that happened in the 80s? Sure.
Why not? It's
the neon raccoon.
Neon raccoon.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God, now I wish that's what it was called. Oh,
the neon raccoon.
So much better than the radiant raccoon. God damn it, Chris. Where were you when I needed you?
I mean, you just call me.
I will, from now on.
I mean, we're friends, I thought.
We are. I mean, yeah, it's just, all right, new protocols.
Don't ask me for better words.
All right. It was then that this eerily illuminated woodland critter broke the silence saying, in perfect English, good evening, doctor.
Oh, yes, it talks. Fucking sweet.
Yeah.
I love it.
The astonished scientist managed to mutter, hello.
Oh, man.
And whatever happened next remains unknown because it was at that moment that Mullis's memory went completely blank.
Oh, dude.
I know. I mean, classic. Quote, the next thing I remember, it was early in the morning. I was walking along a road uphill from my house. What went through my head as I walked down toward my house was, what the hell am I doing here? I had no memory of the night before. I thought maybe I had passed out and spent the night outside, but the nights are damp in the summer in Mendocino, and my clothes were dry, and they weren't even dirty. Mullis stumbled into his cabin and saw that the lights were still on, something he would not ordinarily allow to happen as his solar batteries were relatively small. He then began to put away the groceries that he'd left out and discovered that the ice-cold orange juice was now warm to the touch. It was then that memories from the night before began filtering back. Quote, all of a sudden it came back to me, the talking, glowing raccoon. Had that happened? It was as clear a memory as my early morning brain allowed. Yes, I remembered the little bastard and his courteous greeting. I remembered its little shifty black eyes. I remembered the way my flashlight had looked on its already glowing face. Where was my flashlight? I walked to the John right away. I wasn't afraid of finding something scary. I wanted that fucking raccoon to be there. It wasn't, and neither was the flashlight. I had a feeling nothing would be there. I had a feeling I was going to feel empty, frustrated, and confused. And I was. Poor bastard.
Jesus Christ.
The fucking flashlight thief.
I know.
Yeah, the neon raccoon, if nothing else, will steal your fucking flashlight.
I do love that he's got the moxie next day. He's like, I need my flashlight. I don't give a fuck if I want to see this raccoon.
Yeah.
I want this rat bastard to show up again, say howdy. You have a feeling the conversation probably would have been brilliant.
Yeah, well, yeah. When it says "Good evening, doctor,"
good evening, doctor, like knows his title,
Yeah.
knows everything that's going on.
All right, well, let's see what this fucking raccoon does.
The exhausted doctor crawled into bed and slept for a few hours. When he woke up, he once again searched for his flashlight to no avail. Mullis tried to reckon what had happened and was surprised to find that, despite the sheer absurdity of the event, he wasn't particularly haunted by it. That was until he decided to clean out a spring pipe that fed a pond that was shrouded within a forest about 600 feet from his retreat. A forest which, until that morning, had been one of his favorite places to visit on his property. No sooner had he stepped into the tree-lined shadows when, quote, I began to panic. I turned around and walked rapidly as I could toward the daylight. I didn't run or look over my shoulder. I walked fast. I didn't want anything to know that I was panicking. When I got well out into the open, I turned back and looked into the woods.
That fast walk you do?
Yeah, you power walk.
Yeah, yeah. We're like, the
We all
demons don't
know it.
see
Yeah,
me.
there's
The
nothing
demons don't see
there.
me.
I don't see it, doesn't see me. I don't see it, doesn't see me.
Yeah.
That's exactly the logic
There's
that
no
really
werewolf.
that
There's
sang
no-
to me. Because we've all had that terrible feeling like, it's not going to know. I'm just going to walk
Yeah.
fast, going to walk with purpose. I'm not going to run. I'm not going to look. I'm not going to scream because I know it's there. And that to me is an almost universal sensation of trying to quell panic, knowing full well that some nefarious shit is on your trail.
If you-
but you also do it in your house when you just walk to the
Yeah.
bathroom.
You're right.
And you're like, somehow I have to make it to my room after I shut this light off.
Right.
I do the same thing still. I'm like, if I get there quick, Frankenstein won't see me.
Yeah.
And then he fucking does.
He always sees you.
Yeah.
He's got all the eyes.
He does. Yeah.
But this doesn't necessarily speak to the truth of something watching him. It speaks to the truth of him believing it.
And being paranoid.
Yeah, for sure.
Right. So he goes on to say, what the hell am I doing? I had no idea, but I wouldn't go back in there. Each time I looked in that direction, I felt more certain that I wouldn't go back in there. Whatever happened to me last night must have happened there, in those woods. I remember that road I had been walking on that morning when I came to my senses. It came toward my house from that direction. I got the hell home and didn't look back. I didn't tell anybody about it. 6 months later, Mullis managed to enter the woods while accompanied by his sons, who were then 5 and 8 years old. He unclogged the pipe, but was unable to enter the woods alone and loathed the fact that his once perfect sanctuary had become a source for what he considered to be an irrational fear. After 2 years of living with this anomalous anxiety, Mullis knew that it was long past time to go clear the pipe again. Clear
Yeah.
that fucking pipe. But after getting his tools assembled, he found that he was unable to enter the forest. He'd had enough. It was then that the often cranky chemist realized it was time for a little homespun quote-unquote psychotherapy. And he decided to confront the issue with an imaginary all-American hero and in an all-too-American fashion.
Oh,
Quote,
boy.
I had purchased another black metal flashlight to replace the one I had lost. I taped it to the barrel of an AR-15.
There you go.
Oh, it's Mark. Is that the hero?
Yeah, but my flashlight.
Are you the hero?
Yeah, I actually.
Are you the
I
hero?
had a mount on mine for my flashlight though, just in case.
Oh, fancy.
Yeah,
Fancy pants.
just in case.
This is his words, not mine.
Okay.
This is a weapon not everyone has, thank God.
Well, yeah.
With a 5D cell flashlight strapped to the barrel of the AR-15 with black tape, I felt like John Wayne. I walked out to the woods. I stood outside the first trees and yelled into the dark, "This is my property and I'm coming in. Anything moves, I'll shoot it. If it doesn't move, I may shoot it anyhow. I'm pissed off."
Yeah,
Stand your fucking ground. There
Yeah,
you
no
go.
doubt.
If you move, you die. If you don't move, you fucking die.
You might die.
Everyone dies.
I'm mad. I'm really mad.
Yeah, exactly.
America v. Paranormal. What were you saying? I was yelling really loud. Quote again. "Get out of my woods. Now. If you can't move, scream. Maybe I'll have mercy. Maybe not. Get the fuck out of my woods." John Wayne would not have said fuck, but times have changed, he went on to say.
I love
Yeah,
this.
well, it's a little dirty Harry maybe in there.
It's
it's
For
got-
sure, I mean-
he's slipping into Clint Eastwood a little.
He's got
Dirty
a-
Wayne.
Yeah, he might have a little.
Dirty Wayne.
There might be a little Cobra in there. I think maybe a little bit of Cobra.
Smidge?
A little bit of Cobra.
Smidge?
Maybe. I don't know.
Just saying.
Marion Cobretti?
Yeah.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah.
Cobra didn't yell that he's just going to shoot everybody.
No,
no
he
matter
just
what.
shot everybody.
He grunted, yeah.
exactly. It was, there you go. Dead.
It was a great American mid-'80s hero.
Fucking Cobra ruled, dude.
I felt like that kind of screaming would at least clear out anybody who was innocently there. It would also be a part of my therapy. My D-cells cut a clean beam into the darkest spot of the forest. There was a giant, old, hollowed-out bay laurel growing right out of a little waterfall full of ferns. I was 50 feet away from it. I loved it, but it had become the focus of my fears. John Wayne at my side, wearing the same kind of hat I had donned for the occasion, said, "Let 'em have it, kid." My best John Wayne. I opened up with the AR-15 and riddled the area of the laurel. "Blow 'em to hell, kid."
He's shooting at ferns.
Yeah, this is from a Nobel Laureate's autobiography.
Oh, man. All right, cool.
I emptied one clip and loaded another, walking around and screaming and firing at anything that looked dark. I didn't shoot up in the air. I'm not antisocial.
What does that even mean?
This whole story could have been a disaster story of murder.
Oh, yeah.
Fucking like.
Oh, no, it could have been guy who never, because this happens before he wins the Nobel Prize. Guy who never wins Nobel Prize discovers something, kills 3 innocent people in his woods because he's screaming at a glowing raccoon.
Yeah.
There's a lot of ways this can go.
I mean, I've been in this situation, not with so much anger, just out in the woods with an AR-15 with friends, hammered, shooting it everywhere, but not like at people, obviously.
Well, yeah,
Like,
but how do you? No,
I was never in that situation.
No.
Never?
No.
See, you should.
I never went out in the woods and just shot guns.
Never, really?
No.
Oh, you guys don't do that?
No, because bullets kill.
Do you want to?
No.
We can.
I mean, would you go nuts with a hatchet if you really had a temper or something and just hack up a stump or something?
No,
I've never done it, but I could see doing that because the shrapnel might hit a bunny in the eye and you'll feel bad, but you're not going to be shooting fucking bullets everywhere.
You bring targets.
Okay.
Yeah. Just you bring cans.
Yeah, no, good idea.
All right, fine.
The psychotherapy worked. I hope that I hadn't shot any holes in my water line. We're fucking anybody else.
Yeah, seriously.
I walked out of the woods knowing that in the morning, without the AR-15 or the hat, I could come back. And I did. End quote.
Safety first, motherfuckers.
Although his unconventional and incredibly boisterous and not, undangerous home therapy session seemed to work, Mullis was not yet done with the mystery of the cordial, self-illuminated raccoon, or the neon raccoon as it has been dubbed. It would be while browsing in a La Jolla bookstore in 1987 that Mullins would be struck by a cover illustration that would rock him to his core. Though he would have no way of knowing it at the time, this would be an experience shared by millions worldwide who stumbled across the book and realized that this was a face they had seen many times before. I'm speaking, of course, of Ted Jacobs' rendering of a triangular-headed, inky, black-eyed alien that adorned the cover of Whitley Strieber's best-selling account of his personal experience with pale-skinned alien abductors, Communion.
Hated that fucking cover.
Hated it, too.
My ma had it in the fucking bathroom, just sitting on the toilet. I would come home
And just stare
from a friend's
at it.
house, 2 a.m, and then I'd be like, well, I'm not going to bed. I very often, I would not look, and I'd grab it, and I'd fucking flip it over. Just sort of,
Just
it's the worst picture of a gray,
Yeah, it is.
like ever.
Yeah,
I agree.
Fucking
It's
eerie.
just terrible.
Well, the funny thing
Fucking
about
awful.
this is, I mean, this is almost a universal, at least in the Western world, culturally accepted trope that disturbs. There are many who believe that it only disturbs abductees. Those that know it and those that don't know that they have been abducted. I'm not saying I fall into that grouping of belief because I don't necessarily.
I wonder if Chris was abducted.
Well, I mean, Hieronymus Bosch bothers me, and I don't think I've been to hell.
Yeah.
I mean, I love it, but it's icky.
Like, I can look at it now, I wouldn't be.
Oh, no.
But it's just.
you're young, and
It's a.
It is a haunting
Creepy,
image.
yeah, it's fucking
Is
awful.
it great? Is it great artistry? Is it great, graphic design?
Yeah.
Or is it really triggering a memory? Or is it a combination of both? And you can't rule that possibility out either.
Yeah.
But either way, it struck him in the same way that it struck me too, not just Chris. When I first saw it, I was like, "Ooh,
yeah, it's grubby.
you're a pile of scum." So, Mullis purchased the book and began reading it when an even more unnerving coincidence occurred. His daughter Louise called from Portland to tell her father that he needed to read Communion immediately. Mullis informed her that he already was, and she regaled him with a story that she had not shared before about an incident that occurred to her and her fiancé on her father's Mendocino property. According to Louise, The couple had arrived at the cabin late at night when Louise, like her dad before her, had decided to heed nature's call and headed out for the outhouse. After some time had passed, her fiancé wandered out to see if she was okay, and upon finding the facilities empty, he began frantically searching the woods, screaming her name until his voice was hoarse. But she was nowhere to be seen. 3 hours had elapsed before Louise found herself far from where she'd been with no recollection of having gotten there. Mullis described the moment, quote, "The first thing she remembered was walking the same road on which I'd found myself, hearing her fiancé calling her name. She had no idea where she'd been. When she saw the book, she had experienced the same sort of vague recognition I had. After she finished telling me about her story, I told her about my experience. It was the first time I'd told anyone. I asked her about talking raccoons that glowed in the dark. I don't remember anything," she said. One of the elements in Strieber's now iconic book was the fact that when the author first began to experience extraterrestrial contact in the woods of upstate New York, his mind recalled these enigmatic entities not as aliens, but as owls that spoke to him. Mullis wondered if he might have encountered the same phenomenon, only with a raccoon. He even pondered whether it, quote, could have been a hologram projected from God knows where, end quote.
Fucking hologram neon fucking raccoon.
Indeed.
But there was owls out there when he was shitting, right?
Yeah. So why wouldn't it just be a fucking owl?
Yeah. Instead of what's up with the fucking...
Yeah.
I don't know.
Okay, all right.
I mean, you're both looking at me like I know. I don't know.
You wrote it, you know.
I know.
You did the
wrote
research.
A version of it. I did the research. I still
Bullshit.
don't
It's
know.
bullshit. I come back to this.
Wow, I know. I can't come up with good names without Chris, and I
No
faulty
fucking
research.
answers. No answers.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Episode what? Now you finally have this problem?
Yeah, wow. 200 something later, we still have no answers.
We've given you enough time. You've had years to give us answers.
I knew the gauntlet would finally be fucking thrown.
We need answers.
Oh, it'll
We
never
need
happen.
answers.
It'll never happen. What I will say is, thus far, I mean, I think we're all in agreement. The LDS, I mean, maybe he didn't do nitrous anymore, despite being a Nobel Prize winning chemist who's a dick, but brilliant at his shit. Easy to dismiss. But now we're going to start
different.
involving other people.
Yeah.
First the daughter, it doesn't quite end here. We'll continue here.
This episode is brought to you by BetterHelp. What interferes with your happiness? Is something preventing you from achieving your goals? BetterHelp is not a crisis line. It's not self-help. It's professional counseling done securely online. BetterHelp will assess your needs and match you with your own licensed professional therapist and get you connected in a safe and private online environment that is convenient, professional, and affordable. You can start communicating in under 48 hours. Check out BetterHelp.com/HellerSpace and get 10% off your first month. As a part of this sponsorship, BetterHelp was kind enough to give us a 1-month free trial to check these services out for ourselves. I personally have been using it since December, and I cannot say enough good things about how easy this is to use and set up and schedule. There was a short survey that I filled out. I was connected with my therapist in a couple of days, and we've been meeting weekly ever since. Find the particular expertise you need online. Don't limit yourself to the counselors near you, and this service is available to clients worldwide. Join over 1 million people who have taken charge of their mental health. Again, that's BetterHelp, HELP.com/HellerSpace to get 10% off your first month.
Although Mullis was open to the possibility that the being may have taken him, he was, not surprisingly, unwilling to limit his experience to mere alien abduction, thinking instead that it involved, quote, multi-dimensional physics at a macrocosmic level, end quote, claiming, quote, anything can goddamn happen and the speed of light is not really the limit in terms of interactions with other cultures or whatever. This stuff about grabbing people or subjecting them to all kinds of experiments, it's just anthropology at a level we don't understand yet, end quote, which is something I've always agreed with.
Yeah.
It seems like it's an anthropological study, a biological/anthropological study.
Yeah, you could say that. angle, I guess,
Right.
for sure.
Sure. I mean, there's no way of knowing. Okay. He was even less convinced that the alien being's alleged array of DNA sampling and biological experiments were aimed toward the goal of creating a hybrid species, stating, quote, any culture that could conquer the barrier of space-time could have easily conquered the far simpler problems of complex biochemistry and would not need us in the manner described in the great alien human hybrid agenda theories, end quote. So he's like, this is not about crossbreeding. It's not about saving their species with like proto-ape DNA or whatever the fuck they call us.
Yep.
It's about something much more profound or maybe less profound.
If they
Who the
don't
fuck knows?
give a shit about biochemistry, then they just focused on space-time, then... You know,
One man's theories.
I
know what you're saying.
It's a lot of people have this thing though. They're like, well, if they can travel space, then they must do this. And I'm like, well, why? That's
Yeah,
not,
you're right.
That's kind of an
You're
assumption.
right. One does not presuppose the other.
No, it doesn't
what
at all.
Chris is saying here, this is something that constantly pisses me off. If or to do it in the negative, you can't go faster than the speed of light, therefore nothing can visit our planet. Well, fuck you, dude. We couldn't travel 30 miles in a day, for most of humanity's history.
Yeah.
Or something close to that. I don't know specifics. Now you can just fly across the world in the same amount of time. So shit changes.
Yeah.
You're talking about, when not that I'm trying to call him out, but when Seth Shostak talks about the absurdity of aliens visiting here, obviously his paycheck comes in listening to fucking radio signals, so I don't blame him fully. So he thinks there's intelligent life out there, but it could never come here. It's saying with the current technology we have, it couldn't be done. That's asinine. Because you see how much things have changed in 5 fucking centuries.
Yeah.
In 2 centuries. In 1 century.
Dude,
Right.
It's absurd.
people don't even own CDs anymore, dude.
There you go.
Think about it.
Think about 8 tracks.
Yeah.
Who's there to mourn for the 8 track?
Who even has an iPod anymore?
Shit.
No one.
Oh, jeez.
It's buried with grandma.
It's
done.
Dude, that's like memes now. Like if you look on the internet, people like are memeing like iPods. Like like someone finds an iPod and they're like, "What's this?" They're showing it to kids. Like
an archaeological
I'm like,
discovery.
this was 2000s, right?
Yeah,
Like,
no, I still have multiple.
it is
iPods.
memed like 8-tracks now.
Yeah.
It's just like this square thing.
I
Don't know
can-
what to do with it. Looks like it's got a circle.
I can remember. I can remember downloading podcasts through iTunes and then transferring them to my iPod to listen to.
Yeah.
Wow.
Imagine the barbarity that was. Just
Dude.
the uncultured bullshit.
Dealing with the Black Plague.
yeah.
Yep.
Not
Burning
ha-
open sores.
Not having a phone that has access
Leeching
to
the
every
fever off ya.
or every song ever, and fucking.
If I can't do everything on one thing that's smaller than anything ever made,
Listen, this black
bullshit.
this black triangle without this thing, let me tell you.
Black triangle.
I mean,
Dude,
black.
do you know a shape? Do you know what shapes are?
Black rectangle. But it's a black rectangle.
Are you a fucking alien? Because how do you not know what a fucking
Dropped
triangle
out of
is?
geometry.
I misspoke. It's a fucking rectangle, all right?
Watch, the next iPhone's totally going to be a triangle.
Oh, it probably is.
I hope it's a rhombus.
Yes, it's a rhombus. Where am I
Sexy
gonna-
hot
No, like
rhombus.
it'll be
Where
a
am I gonna put
parallelogram,
it?
I guess, right?
Yeah, it would be.
It could be like,
Oh,
you know how
parallelogram,
awkward
yeah.
it'd be like, what?
Oh,
why?
God,
People
yeah.
get so mad.
Oh my god!
But if it was like a
yeah.
hexagram, like
No, if
most
App-
of your fingers could find purchase.
If
You could do all
Apple
sorts
did
of
it,
stuff.
people would fucking
They'd
love it
find
no
a
matter
way.
what. They'd be
They'd
like,
find a
oh my
way,
god, so good.
Yeah, it's still cult.
Oh my god, it's ergonomic. I can't believe that.
This is so
That's
progressive
good.
design.
I'd be like,
wise. Oh my God, I love it. Where's my Frappuccino latte?
they can make it out of tacks and they'd still fucking love it. They got it, pokes your skin in, it's just so gray. It hurts. It hurts so bad. It's amazing.
Grays are just
Fucking
like
sandpaper.
Apple geniuses from the future. We're all in an eye store, fuckers. That is the fucking fabricated universe.
Oh god! All right, moving on.
Whatever Mullis's speculations may have been regarding the entity's abilities and agenda, this would not be the end of the Raccoon's reign of weird. And an interesting aside, that's literally a quote, an interesting aside, which was a supplement to Strange Evidence, an article by ufologist Bill Chalker published in the spring 1999 edition of the International UFO Reporter. Mullis claimed that a friend of his also had a terrifying run-in with this peculiar procyanid, that's the family that raccoons are, according to Chalker, quote, another person encountered a glowing raccoon between the cabin and the toilet. This was a friend of Mullis who did not know of the raccoon story and was a first-time visitor during a party at the cabin after the announcement of the Nobel Prize win in 1993. So this is 8 years after Mullis's own.
Okay.
This man did not stick around and fled up the hill towards the house. On the way, he encountered a small glowing man, which then suddenly enlarged into a full-sized man who said something like, quote, "I'll see you tomorrow."
What?
The man who was not experiencing a drug or alcohol-induced hallucination left with a friend without informing anyone. They returned to their hotel at a nearby town.
If we're at a party and this happens, I'm telling you both immediately.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what friendship is.
Exactly.
This poor guy maybe just didn't have a good friend at the party. I don't know.
See?
But you see the glowing raccoon, and I don't know. Apparently, Dr. Mullis tried to engage with it, and whatever happened. And so he turns around and books.
Yeah.
Logical thing to do. But then you see the tiny man, also a glow.
Yeah.
And the tiny man becomes a regular sized man. But when you start off looking at a guy who's tiny, let's say 3.5, 4 inches. I don't know. It doesn't say.
It's a
Let's
tiny,
just say
it's a tiny guy.
all of a sudden you're thinking, even though if he only ends up like 5'6", he's giant because you
Compared-
watched him grow.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, yeah, for sure.
And then he says he's going to see tomorrow?
And that's not cool.
No.
That is not cool.
Super weird.
So he goes back to his hotel nearby town. Chalker continues. That night, the man inexplicably found himself outside in the hotel car park, troubled and terrified by the impression he had somehow been back to the Mullis cabin. He and his friend returned the following night to the cabin. So he's standing in the car park. He's like, later that night, like, fuck, I feel like I've been back there. I don't know. Did I go back there? But the next night, they legitimately do. There's no resolution to that. Okay. So the next night, he and the buddy go back to the cabin. The celebratory party was carrying on from the previous night. I mean, you win a Nobel Prize. That's not a one-night party.
Yeah.
Right.
As the man arrived, he was shocked to see the full-sized man, seen as an enlarging apparition the night before, drive up in a car.
Oh, he's got some fucking wheels now?
Yeah.
Sweet.
Okay.
This was too much for the first-time visitor. He left in a panic, holding Mullis somehow responsible for the previous night's events. Sometime later, in tears, he revealed the full story to Mullis, who identified the man his friend had seen as his elderly neighbor. Carrie Mullis confirmed all this and more when he spoke with him recently. Mullis checked with his neighbor, and sure enough, he had come to the party on the second night, arriving to be seen by the terrified visitor. However, he was certain he was not there on the first night, not in person, and not lurking as a glowing raccoon or a small glowing man that enlarged into a vision of himself. Literally, what the fuck? So
Yeah, that's really weird.
So this entity, whatever it is, first looks like a raccoon, then decides to look like fucking one of Mullis's neighbors,
but
a
as
tiny man.
A tiny man.
Then
yeah.
the full-on elderly
Then-
neighbor.
yeah, grows.
Then when
Okay.
the elderly neighbor just shows up randomly the next night, assuming that he's not the orchestrator of all this paranormal mayhem and isn't himself an ultra-terrestrial or something, he's just an old dude, then that either means that somehow they're associated and this glowing entity embodies, I don't know, the old man somehow, or that the entity was literally just predicting what was going to happen. You'll see this tomorrow. I'm this old man tomorrow. I know you're going to see it.
He told him, yeah.
But it has
fuck.
no bearing on anything, and it makes no fucking sense. And it's something that John Keel would revel in as the haphazard assholery of ultra-terrestrials.
It is definitely a John
Yeah.
Keel ha-ha moment right there.
I mean, or they met and he just was fucked up and didn't remember it, and he was really there. It's like, oh yeah, I'll see you tomorrow at the party.
Or this elderly neighbor
is
is
just like, what the fuck is this? He's like, yeah, dude, we talked yesterday for like a long time
Dude,
about
the
stuff.
elderly, it could be the fucking elderly neighbor could be a wizard, dude. He could be the fucking neon
Oh,
raccoon.
he could be fucking enchanting these
could be.
forest animals and projecting himself.
Oh, is he the dollar store injured cold?
Oh my god.
He's the
He's the
word.
pick weight
Oh,
cold.
He's the
Berlin cold.
He's the pick weight.
Hank Chili.
There it is.
Terrible.
Hank chills to his friends.
I'm gonna cut this off.
It's so no,
Hank
that's
Chili.
awful. Hank Chili.
Hey, I'm Hank Chili. Hey, what's going on?
What's up?
You don't even know it's coming. All right, I gotta go though because I gotta shit.
shit.
And everybody, nobody gets to shit. That might be the great tragedy of the story.
Yeah, everyone's
going to shit.
Everyone goes to shit and they can't.
And nobody can shit. This dude can't shit. Louise can't shit.
No.
Carrie can't shit.
No one can shit, dude.
Oh, is this a tulpa because no one could shit? So it just manifested as a glowing asshole? Fucking being weird shapes?
Or what if it's like a forest entity
could
and
be
it's
it.
sacred ground and it's just this fucking like nature spirit trying to prevent people from shitting at this sacrosanct spot?
You know, unless
They put the house on the bodies. They didn't move
Did
the
ya?
bodies.
Yeah. You put the shitter on the corpses, didn't you?
I mean, there could be methane. Just saying.
Well, that'd be a
methane
lot
ghost?
of methane.
Could be methane
Like
built up.
to affect people that are 20 feet away from the outhouse?
I mean, depends, I guess, on how much shit's in the outhouse.
I mean, I've never looked at
A lot of
comparative
shit.
studies of
lot of
outhouse-induced methane hallucinations. I'm sure somebody's done some scholarship on this.
yeah.
Yeah, surprising lack of study.
Yeah.
I thought there'd be more.
Yeah, where's nature when you need it? They're publishing everything.
How shit affects you. Like,
I mean,
multiple.
you know, it does. I can attest that, you know, some of the smells.
Have
can
you
be a little
methane
fun.
tripped?
No.
All right, well, that's good.
All right, test it out.
Yeah.
No.
Take a shit, save the shit up.
Okay.
Just
Shit in a bucket.
Get
put it
in
the hot
there.
garage
The
for
smell
fucking
is
weeks.
the smell is pretty bad, but no, I've never methane tripped. So
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
So basically, we
Debunked.
don't know.
debunked.
All right, fair. I'll go with that. Let's just flat out
The
debunk
neighbor's
it.
a raccoon. Solved it.
All right, so there's other notions.
Okay.
Mullis would go on to write, quote, "Strange things have happened in Mendocino. My closest friend there, Alex Champion, who was in graduate school with me at Berkeley, thinks that there are a lot of mysteries in the valley. He doesn't think they cause problems as long as we recognize that we are the quote-unquote real things and that we are in charge. We only have to take command," he says. "I think John Wayne would agree," end quote.
He loves John
Okay,
Wayne.
yeah, he's
Yeah.
obsessed.
Oh, no, clear. The
Yeah.
Duke,
Again,
the
my
Duke was
God.
He's
his
just-
partner in this.
Yeah.
So Alex Champion has a theory that these things are there and apparently able to interact with humanity.
Okay.
Self-conscious enough to, I don't know, address the doctor as like, "Good evening, doctor."
But you're in charge.
but they're not corporeal somehow.
Yeah.
They're either spiritual or energetic or who the fuck knows. So if you're going to swing your John Wayne dick around, then it'll know who's boss man. You bring your AR-15 out there and your fucking cowboy hat, and it's going to know you're the man, and then you don't get molested.
You take well,
I guess.
your butt could get touched, but you take control, and then
See?
you tell how to touch your butt.
There's part of
Okay.
me that is both repulsed by the simplicity of that, and I kind of see a little bit of truth in it. Repulsed just, I don't know, by the machismo and arrogance
Yeah,
of it.
that's- yeah.
But there's part of me that's like, you know, we've seen a billion ghost hunting things or read books, you know,
Dude, Zach
where you
Baggins.
come in there and you're like, you make sure you're not afraid. You understand you're just occupying the space and they're having a hard time between worlds. I'm not saying I buy all of it. I'm just reiterating the things I've heard. And if you go into your bedroom with confidence, even though you see a 7-foot tall shadow man with a hat in the corner with glowing red eyes and it's terrifying, gosh darn it, your room is yours.
You stand up to it and it'll dissipate
Yeah.
in ash, and then you get the belt.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. You win the belt.
What belt?
Yeah, you throw
it's the
the
fucking
World
belt. You get the
Wrestling
fucking
belt.
Ghost Man Championship belt.
His Intercontinental Championship
Yeah,
belt.
it's
on
got
it.
little materializes
on
around
it.
your
Yeah, it
waist.
just goes around you in a puff of sage.
It's got just a
no.
little ghost on it, like the sheet
That's
ghost
it.
with
Yeah, exactly.
two eyes.
2 eyes.
And it
totally.
says fucking champion.
Ghost Punch Champion
Astral champion
Ghost
of
all right.
Earth.
Yeah, all right. Well,
of this room. I mean,
Not,
you have
not
to do
the
it in
solar
every
system
room.
of Earth. And then you have to go to Mars and defeat that ghost in the
Oh
corner.
no! You gotta go to all the different planets.
Yeah.
And defeat.
Gotta go to Jupiter, die, but
That's the
defeat
trick.
the
No,
ghost.
to beat the boss on Jupiter, you have to die first.
All right, so this has it protocols where if you're like, "I'm not afraid of you," and you can't, whatever, then it shrivels up. and
According to Alex Champion,
get the belt.
who, while a Berkeley graduate, I don't know how, what his expertise is and or how well we should take his advice in the terms of dealing with paranormal.
right.
Perfect.
Okay.
But swagger, I guess, means something. So, okay. In terms of applying the rigor of the scientific method to these experiences, the Nobel Laureate had this to say, quote, I wouldn't try to publish a scientific paper about these things because I can't do any experiments. I can't make a glowing raccoon appear. I can't buy them from a scientific supply house to study. I can't cause myself to be lost again for several hours, but I don't deny what happened. It's what science calls anecdotal because it only happened in a way that you can't reproduce. But it happened, end quote. Beloved in some circles and loathed in others, there can be no doubt that as challenging and at times offensive as his actions and notions may have been, Kary Mullis made a definitive impact on the world and might well have been the only Nobel Prize winner to admit to having an encounter with a genuinely alien intelligence. And there is a lot to unpack.
Glowing raccoon. So I guess we can obviously start with the alien angle because
and he even
there is plenty there.
Yeah.
So if it's a matter of like you're talking about where in communion that obviously all aliens or all owls are aliens, we know that. When you see an owl, it's not. It's actually
I know that's become universal trope.
Yes.
I know
it's an alien. So I mean I guess if it's a matter of this is how they I guess hide themselves or present themselves to you. Weird. That's a glowing raccoon.
Yeah, in what way is that supposed to comfort you? I mean, I guess it's better than a bulbous-headed weirdo, but I mean, it's not really because it's a talking fucking raccoon.
I mean, it's kind of like the owl, like the owl angle. Like no one, that's bizarre.
It is.
Why not just? I guess an owl is less bizarre than a fucking glowing raccoon.
Well, yeah,
is it really?
They exist.
Yeah.
Well, so do raccoons.
Not glowing raccoons.
Oh yeah, fair enough.
Yeah.
So it's the narrow margin of the glow.
Yeah,
that makes it more.
The glow is where they fucked up. Yeah. Although
and it didn't do anything either, though.
No, it said good evening, doctor, and then he was lost.
There was no information given. Right, there doesn't seem like they have it didn't seem like there was a point.
There probably is. Probably a lot of it. Here's the problem, and some would say the benefit. I guess benefit's a weird way of putting it. He did not go through hypnotic regression.
I was going to bring
which
that up.
Which would have certainly led to things that we would have cringed at and probably rolled our eyes. But on the other hand, it would have offered additional information. Now, spoiler alert, Dr. Mullis is dead. Been dead for a while.
R.I.P.
So there's no going back. But it would have been fascinating just for, even if it wasn't, I don't know, even if we couldn't entirely test the hypnotic, or trust, I should say, certainly not test either, the hypnotic fucking testimony, to know what transpired at least in his mind.
Right.
Yeah, what he thought happened, if anything.
Yeah, I can see that.
But again, like, if they're somehow always able to erase, they never get 100% of it, right? No. Everybody always remembers seeing a thing, but nothing afterwards. So it's always like, if you're gonna do all of it, why can't you do all of it? Why can't you erase everything?
Well, they probably can. Here's the thing that fucking, just to answer that question specifically, and by answer I mean just throw my own bullshit at it.
Answer is yes.
I would think that if they really wanted to control the scenario, wanted to do whatever they wanted to do, be a genetic, psychological, anthropological testing on us, and then have us not know any better, they would hit us right as soon as we hit REM sleep.
Yeah,
so we would think we were dreaming. They would do whatever they're going to do. They would erase the full breadth of it. They would put us back down, I'm sure they have technology to induce REM sleep, or at least they should, and then put us right back in it, and then you wake up feeling maybe a little sore, a little groggy, a little confused, bad night.
Yes.
Wake up with a neck kink, and you never have a single thought. You don't remember seeing the UFO or the glowing raccoon or fucking things float through your window or whatever fuck people see. So my thought to that is either A, they really are ignorant about the way our psyches work, in the sense that they just don't understand that all these small little details, incongruent as they are, can grow into become lifelong obsessions. Or point two, they do get it and don't give a fuck, because we really are the equivalent of animals in the wild that they're just testing and doing their experiments on, and then we don't give a fuck how stressed out an elk is after we tag it, and they might not either. Or B, technically, so whatever, weird category. They're leaving these memories for a reason. This is part of the significance of what they're doing.
Their grand,
the big plan, the long game.
I know. I had to throw it out there.
This is all part of their plan. It all ties together. The little man, you were supposed to see him, and now he's the full size man.
And maybe you're supposed to dig deeper, and maybe that's puts you on a
Man.
path. I don't necessarily buy that. I'm just throwing it out there.
I think the fucking neighbor is the raccoon, dude.
the neighbor's the
The
raccoon.
neighbor's the raccoon.
Old Man Jones.
Yeah.
He's the tiny man.
Could have
He's
something
the
going on.
raccoon.
Dude, his buddy was saying there's shit in the valley. There's things up there. There's spirits you don't understand.
Oh yeah,
There's a
Rex
man-
Champion.
Yeah,
What's his fucking
Alex
name?
Champion.
Oh, all right.
Lex to his buddies.
There's a man that you don't understand how manly he is until you walk into the valley of the shadow of death in his boots.
Was it Alex Champion that said, "You want to beat this monster? Fucking conjure Wayne.
God,
Put on
yeah.
your best hat.
Yeah.
Tape a fucking flashlight to your AR-15, and you fucking kill
Scream
your
at
inner
Fern.
fear."
It technically,
Screaming
I think it
burn.
technically could fall under magical thinking. Probably.
definitely.
For sure. If you conjure John Wayne as your whatever, your fucking spirit guide, and you're just like, me and the Duke are going to do it. Remember that time you played Genghis Khan? It was real weird.
It was real
Here
weird.
you go. We're going to do it.
Yeah.
He just fucking comes out. He's like, all right, partner. And it's my awful John Wayne impression.
We all do awful John
Does
Wayne
anybody
impressions.
have a good John Wayne?
No, we all
No.
do.
No one has a good John Wayne?
I don't think so.
Not one of us? Give me a John Wayne line. What do you
Oh
got?
my God! Give me a line to say.
I don't know a John Wayne line. I've not.
I don't
watched.
either.
I have no clue.
There's a reason why none of us do John Wayne.
Yeah, I know.
None
We
of us
just don't
watch
even know.
John
Yeah.
Wayne movies.
I mean, I watched
I'm
The
okay
Quiet
with that.
Man, which is the least John Wayne-y John Wayne movie.
You're right.
I love that movie.
Isn't there a thing where he's like, you can't swim, and he fucking throws the kid in the water? I remember seeing
What
that.
the fuck?
Yeah, I remember seeing that like on YouTube.
I mean, it might have happened, but what the hell is that?
I remember
Can't swim?
He's like, you can't swim, and he fucking throws the kid in the water, like drowns him or something.
Yeah, no, that's-
child murder with John Wayne.
There it is.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
We don't know John Wayne.
No.
So, I mean,
Man.
okay, the alien abduction stuff is obviously interesting.
Right.
What I like about it, though, is this guy's take on it. He's like, look, this shit happened. I have no way to fucking prove this,
Right.
but here it is.
And unabashedly says it.
So,
Yeah.
I wonder, okay, like, obviously other people up there experienced this, so it's not just like he's a fucking acid casualty or whatever.
Which would be an easy
Yeah.
and surely he has been pigeonholed as such.
Sure, yeah.
And I get it, but it's also a product of the time too. Oh, admitted to making and doing
Right.
acid and nitrous and indulging in all the chemicals that were running rampant in the Northern California in the
Yeah.
late '60s. Oh man, yeah, no, this guy's a shit
there's-
show
there's
who
a-
just happened to be really good at chemistry.
There's other people that had experiences. So if you take the alien route, all right, fine. This is like the pre-tip alien. Like people are experiencing weird shit and they have no recollection of anything happening afterwards. They all fall under regular alien abduction bullshit where it's like, oh, hey, look, I saw this missing time, whatever, disappeared, don't know how the fuck I got there, and then they dug no further.
Right.
They left it at that. His buddy, though, here, fucking Rex Champion, is talking about some valley spirits or whatever, demons of the fucking South or whatever the fuck these things are.
Yeah.
If you're dealing with something like that, I mean, then again, that could fall again back under our umbrella fucking category of this is all the same bullshit.
Well, it doesn't have to be.
But I'm just saying, it possibly could be.
Well, and let's
What
not.
they're thinking is aliens could possibly be, some fucking fae folk.
Yeah,
Same.
fae, nature spirits. You're right.
If dude, a little tiny guy, a glowing raccoon, classic fae.
That's true.
Classic fae. You're just yeah.
Well, I mean, that's why
Really?
I said equally
I
at
don't
home
know.
in
It's
sci-fi
really-
novels
It-
and fairy tales.
If you say it like that, yes.
But yeah, no, you did say it with authority.
I do.
no,
You say
you're
it with
right.
Authority.
But think about what Mullis said himself. Like multi-dimensional entities from, I don't even know what the macrocosmos is. Like I read the words, it was quoted. I mean, it's the big cosmos. I mean, I understand what the
he
words mean.
spouted a line of scientific
bullshit.
kind of word salad, and then
But his idea seems to be more of interdimensional travelers or things that can occupy the same space in
Dude.
different places.
The umbrella.
Well, yes,
There you
but
go.
that doesn't mean that. Well, you got to remember because there's different umbrellas. There's the super spectrum of the Keelian mythology, which is they're all the same fucking thing all the time.
Yeah.
They're called ultra-terrestrials. They eat our fear. They look like fucking Nessies and zombies and fucking fairies, and they don't give a fuck. They're just here to fucking eat your psyche and fucking do what they do. That to me is just too simple.
Okay.
Too simple. Now, if you're talking an umbrella in the sense that it seems to be one phenomenon, kind of like, the Magonia type elements that Jacques Vallée seems to differentiate it a little more subtly, at least in my, experience of reading his stuff, where there's two phenomenon and then different eras and different groups of people describe them as different things, though they're describing the same events, I'm more maybe in tune with that.
Okay.
So could these things be things that are indigenous to the property, that live in these rural areas, that live, all sorts of paranormal things, and fuck you for river gnomes, but live near moving bodies of water in forested areas, allegedly. So could it be something like that? Yeah. Could it be traditional aliens that just mask themselves as wildlife? Maybe. But I've never read an alien gray case where you're little man, big man, elderly neighbor.
Yeah, that's weird.
That's fucking weird.
As if the glowing raccoon wasn't weird enough, getting the little tiny guy is even stranger.
And why a glowing raccoon twice?
Yeah, it's weird.
And it almost has a playful element. Because even though, something bad probably happened, because otherwise why would Mullis be terrified for 2 years? Unless, of course, he's accompanied by his small children, which I get, having anyone to keep company with in a place that's foreboding makes you feel better. And if you have to be the protector, maybe you have that extra strength and bravery. So maybe that's what was working. But for 2 years, basically, he won't go into his favorite part of his property alone.
Yeah.
Until he shoots it up. Something bad must have happened.
Yeah, maybe, but drugs do things.
Well,
you don't know until it happens, really. Also, so you can't really prove that either. But
drugs do
that
things
affects
to your
your
mind.
fucking brain.
If you're super paranoid, maybe. But I don't know. Is it?
All of a sudden, I got out of nowhere. I am super claustrophobic now. I can't even ride a roller coaster. It was never an issue.
You are?
All of a sudden, one day, I just got on the fucking Viper, which is at Darien Lake. It's an upside-down roller coaster. And I had a fucking panic attack.
Really?
Just out of fucking nowhere.
No, shit like that
I just woke up and I'm like, why? I can't even get...
You think from drugs?
No, but things just happen. Your brain just does things.
Right, just hits a switch. Yeah.
Especially if you're on, psychedelic stuff, I couldn't even imagine what that could do you're unaware of.
That's a valid theory. It is. And I agree.
Only for that specific...
Spontaneous phobias. And maybe something just... taking his experience at face value, maybe something really shocking and unique to his experience happened there, and because he couldn't process or work with it, maybe it wasn't something actively terrible. Maybe just something so fucking weird and just a little bit disconcerting to his way of looking at the world that every time from then on he looked at the woods with foreboding until he shot the fuck out of it.
Yeah, the AR-15 therapy seemed to help.
Right. And then maybe it was the result of a drug-addled brain, because no matter how brilliant you are, enough hallucinogens will probably cause, if not damage, permanent brain chemistry changes.
Something.
I also agree with Mark, because I know a lot of people that are just low-key and maybe not too self-reflective, and that doesn't mean they're not brilliant. And they can indulge in hallucinogens all their live long day. Yeah. While I know other people that just tend to be a little more caught in their own shit, and they will overthink it to the point where they have no choice but to have a panic attack.
Yeah, for sure.
Especially if you're already kind of like an eccentric dude.
Yeah.
And then you kind of do this.
And he's hubristic. Don't forget, he's cocksure. He's full of himself. Acid's not going to beat him. Aliens aren't going to beat him.
Yeah, maybe it just tipped the scales a little bit, and he just kind of got fucking super weird.
You can't rule that as a possibility out.
It could be both. It could be that he tipped the scales, he got a little fucking super weird, but he's also has some weird fucking intradimensional fucking nexus near his shitter in the fucking woods.
The two are not mutually exclusive.
It could be everything.
Or a third option, it could be just that kind of openness and indulgence in psychedelics that allowed him to perceive something and help open up this nexus on his property that other people that maybe were less open became susceptible to.
So he's allowing it in.
He's the key.
He's fucking...
The outhouse is the fucking slot.
Dude,
the keyhole, the lock.
Is he is he the key master with fucking Vince Clortho?
Apparently he's both. He's the key master and the gatekeeper.
Okay. Which one was Vince? One of the dogs' name was Vince. I remember it was like Vince Clortho or something.
Wasn't he the key master? I don't know for
sure.
sure.
One of them was named Vince. I'm like, that's a fucking dope dog. No doubt. That dog's fucking killer. That's so awesome. All right, man. Well, there you have it. Holy fucking weird neon raccoons. Holy shit. LSD.
I hope it had a headband and
you might
wristbands.
need to change the title. I know you read it, but you might need to write it down different.
We can always put it out there.
Radiant Raccoon. I'm ashamed of myself
dude,
right now.
Listen, we have multiple titles. We got the Neon Raccoon. We got the Radiant Raccoon. I think they're both fucking equally dope. How
little
about
tiny
that?
baby man turns into big old big man,
little
man, little old man,
little man, big man,
big man, little old big man.
The poor.
I know it's a government code for
so
some
I'm gonna do the questions.
Yeah.
Mark, is it the LDS? Is it fucking interdimensional portals? Is it simple alien abduction? Is it Fae? What's going on?
Dude, it's the interdimensional gateway to the Fae, and you're the shitter.
There it is.
There it is. Christopher?
I don't know. I feel like you can't ignore the LDS.
I know.
But some other things it's weird that his daughter or whatever saw
Yeah.
the alien book, and she's like,
Dad, you got to read it. I'm reading it.
He's like, no, I am.
Dad, I did this on your property. I did too.
I did. Did you see that glowing raccoon? No, you're fucked up. Oh, all right. Well, I guess we just got abducted.
Yep, that's it.
That's exactly
And there
it.
we
Don't
have
tell
it.
anybody that. Just stick with the abduction.
Yeah, dude, we're fine. We're both abducted. Everything's cool. Keep the raccoon to yourself.
Yeah.
They're going to take back your Nobel.
Don't tell anyone else about the raccoon, Dad. It's really fucking weird.
You got
all
a
right?
PhD.
You're embarrassing me.
Yeah, Jesus. Oh, shit. All right,
Drop me off 3 blocks away from where you get your prize in Stockholm. I don't want people seeing you just walk in with me.
Sailor's going to tell everybody.
don't call the Empress sweetie, whatever you do. All right, Rob, what do you got? Interdimensional Fae, LSD, what do you have?
I think that there's something going on much deeper than just alien abduction. I think there's foundational fucking realities and foundational creatures that live there.
There it is.
And I think for some reason he got access to him. And I don't think it had anything to do with the fact that he was smart enough to win a Nobel Prize, or that he was jackass enough to think human beings don't have anything to do with fucking global warming, or that fucking he did a ton of LSD. I think all these are aspects of him. Some shitty, some, I guess, pretty cool that he invented that. I just think he was a dude who stumbled upon this thing, and because of his high profile, was able to give the sighting a little bit more prestige than it would ordinarily get, and because of his controversial nature, also was allowed it to be shot down, so that it ends up balancing out, and it becomes no more or less significant than anyone else's jackass report. But I think it's something he really ran into, and I just think I would love to know what the actual conversation was.
Yeah.
Yeah, sadly, he's no longer with us,
Yeah.
so he won't be able to go under hypnosis and
he probably wouldn't have anyway.
You never know. Maybe he's a fucking...
Oh, he wasn't
you
like
know?
a fan of psychology and
Yeah.
right?
Oh, sociology. No,
so-
fuck all that.
Oh, so shit, I guess he wouldn't.
I probably just would have shot the fucking psychologist.
He shoot the hypnotist.
You want to go to hypnotism? No.
Blamed it on John Wayne.
This is what John Wayne would have done. The goddamn Duke.
You don't control me.
Yeah, you're not looking at my memories. Thank you all for joining us, Cryptonaut Podcast. Oh, shit. How do we do this again? The Instas and the Twitters and the Facebooks.
Things that are real.
Find us in the goddamn social medias. We're there. We're doing it. Facebook fan group. What up to everyone holding it down over there? Thank you all so very much. Oh, geez. Heller Space. There's T-shirts and all kinds of merch and shit available. There's sales every month. There's one happening, I think, probably when this comes out. I don't remember the dates exactly, but we put them on the socials, so check it there. The patreon.com/Cryptonaut Podcast. Be sure, if you are joined up over there, to jump on the Discord. The $1 will get you the shout out and the bonus audio and the access to the Discord. The $5 will get you the shout out, the access to the Discord, and you get 4 bonus audios. Whereas the $1 only gets the 1 bonus audio.
Oh,
And actually, I've talked to people who have gotten like the $1 tier. And they're like, oh shit, I got to upgrade to the 5. I'm like, oh, you guys do a show every week. I'm like, yeah, dude, you get 2 shows every week. You get one on the Sunday before the Monday, where you get the inside scoop about Monday's episode.
yeah,
but not-
every time
yeah,
in the weirdest way.
not really, you get the inside, you get the straight poop.
It's a little meta.
It's a little meta. You get the shit on the fucking on the Sunday before. So thank y'all, everyone over there supporting us. We appreciate it.
Fucking A right.
You know what? There you have it. Thank y'all so very much. We're just fucking moving into 2022, making it happen, and
Doing it.
R.I.P. Bob Saget and Go Bills, and Venom 2 was awful. So there you go.
I believe that.
Yeah, Let There Be Carnage's a piece of shit. So
Not a shock.
Whoa.
that's all I got. That's all I have. Enjoy your shit. Hug your people and support our sponsors. There you go.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got some sponsors. We got sponsored by BetterHelp. So go out there and support that if you're into that kind of thing. I think I was talking to you guys that we got the free trial membership or whatever. I signed up for it, and I'm
Yes.
hooked up with my therapist Suzanne. She's fucking dope. Talking to her on Thursday actually. So, and it's kind of cool that we get we actually have the ability to get sponsors now. So if you are so inclined and you would like to support us via our sponsors, by all means, please do. It helps us out.
Fucking A right.
Word.
And leave reviews.
Oh yeah. Please.
Reviews.
Only on Spotify. It's simple. There's stars. Don't fucking leave any comments.
I don't know. I like
Listen,
reading the comments.
Just
No,
got-
I disagree with that
just
wholeheartedly.
Just got a bad one today, Bobby.
I don't.
Don't read it. Just leave the star.
Is it going to hurt my feelings?
Go to Spotify. We actually have more numbers on Spotify. It helps us more out on Spotify. Go to Spotify, leave a 5-star review, and we're good. That's all.
All right, you can do that. And then go to iTunes and leave a really good review to make my feelings feel better, because fuck them.
Your feelings, my
feelings are important.
They are, but Apple Podcast is not important. Your feelings are important. I will coddle, I will hug, I will hold, I will caress your feelings.
I'm finding that's a stranger by the word.
I will do a thing with your feelings.
Right.
Confront the review
Exactly.
and take the control back from the review.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
All right, perfect.
And then shoot it.
Okay.
Yeah, and then yell at it and shoot it.
Not
Exactly.
mentally, not really shoot
Blow
it.
it to hell, son. My worst John Wayne yet.
That's the best fucking one this episode.
That's so sad.
It's better than
all
mine. It's better than all of ours. Thank you all so very much, and we'll talk to you soon. Bye.